Sorry to barge in like this. Busco a un policía. Vino aquí?
Yo, what's up everyone, it's me Wrexpert, and it's time for another video game review. I've recently been spending most of my gaming time into this one particular game during this year. I haven't had this much fun with gaming in years. Seriously, in a nutshell, just do yourself a favor and buy this game immediately. You will be happy even if you spend full price on this game. It doesn't have to be on discount. You'll be satisfied with the purchase anyway. The company who made this game deserves all the support. Now, what game am I talking about? Well, of course, the amazingly wonderful Resident Evil 4 remake. This game is a ton of fun and has tons of replay value. It's a scary action-packed shooter that will keep you at the edge of your seat from start to finish. There's lots of things to see, to explore and unlock in this game. Even if you finish the story, which is about 20 to 25 hours long, you will still replay the story and complete all the challenges and equip awesome costumes for Leon and Ada that you can unlock by playing the game. I'm so excited to finally make a review of this game. I just finished the base game and the DLC separate ways, so this will be a full review of the entire package that this game has to offer so far. So, let's start with the review. The game starts off with Leon, after having survived the 1998 Raccoon City incident, which mostly happens during the also fantastic Resident Evil 2 remake, developed by Capcom as well. Leon is now an elite soldier on a mission to find the president's daughter who has been kidnapped to an European country, which is Spain. I have to say that I think it was nice of them to add a cutscene of Leon's elite soldier training period, because that kinda explains why he is such a good melee combat fighter in the game. That's one thing I never really got in the OG Resident Evil 4, of how Leon was able to make roundhouse kicks and just be an overly good melee combat soldier. So that was a nice add compared to the OG Resident Evil 4 story. Anyway, this is the story. Your mission is to find the daughter named Ashley and bring her home safe. Of course, like in almost every rescue gaming mission, things doesn't go as planned and you'll go through all sorts of troubles to finally rescue Ashley. This is the story, and I won't be going any more in further details regarding that matter in this review, because I don't want to spoil it all for you. If you played the OG Resident Evil 4, you probably know what is bound to happen in the story. But Capcom has made enough changes to the locations and everything so that it feels like a completely new game to go through. They haven't strayed too far from OG Resident Evil 4 story, nor have they done too little changes. The line between the original and the new one is wonderfully made. This is a game that will stay for us for a long time, and will surely be remembered as one of the best, if not the best, remake that has ever been made of an old game. Now to the gameplay. The gameplay is pretty simple and easy to learn, yet it's very fun and engaging at the same time. You can do all kinds of cool melee moves, stun enemies by shooting them in the head or the legs. The overall combat is just very fluent and doesn't feel as stiff and clumsy as the OG Resident Evil 4. The combat evolution is awesome here in the remake. Your combat skills would definitely shine in the famous Mercenaries mode that the 4th game in the series started. Mercenaries is a mode where you just fight enemies as long as you can and just try to survive all the enemies. The Mercenaries mode is one of the best minigames this game has to offer. I think that the Mercenaries is so good that it alone could be sold as a game in itself. You have all the main characters from the story there as playable characters and all of their special moves and melee attacks. My favorite is probably Hunk. He was a classic in the OG Resident Evil 4. He's quite OP here in the remake, but it's just fun to crack the necks of enemies just like in the OG Resident Evil 4. And it's awesome that Capcom added the same moves here in the remake for him. In short, the Mercenaries mode is a fantastic add to the game and it's just 10 times better here in the remake. I have to say that I also like that John Wick style gun mode Leon goes into every time when an enemy is close enough and then you hit the aim button. He goes into John Wick mode. He holds the gun exactly like John Wick does. I don't think I'm the only player who immediately referred this style to John Wick. Now, let's move on. This game is basically being marketed as a survival horror, but to be completely honest, this game is probably scary during the first intro sequences. After that, it pretty much turns into an action horror game. Yeah, I'd actually rather call this an action horror game than survival horror. Anyway, the atmosphere and sound design is great and really gets under your skin. There are puzzles throughout the game which kinda makes it survival, but in my opinion, if you want a true survival horror Resident Evil experience, go check out the Resident Evil 1 remake, which is the remake of the very first Resident Evil game in history that came out first time for PlayStation 1, like was it 96 if I'm correct? I'm not sure. 96 I think. That game is genuinely scary and will scare the crap out of you. You barely have any ammo in that game and sometimes you just have to run through the enemies and really think when to use your weapons and when not to. Also, the zombies' voices are just crazily creepy in the Resident Evil 1 remake. It's just outright terrifying to hear. Resident Evil 1 remake is also more maze-like than Resident Evil 4 remake. In that game, you really need to search for clues and to go to many different places in order to progress in the game. Resident Evil 4 has freedom to explore the world, but it's still more sort of like walking through a straight tunnel than, for example, Resident Evil 1 remake. I think that the Resident Evil 2 remake still qualifies as a survival horror game because it's also insanely hard and you barely have any ammunition. Resident Evil 4 remake, halfway through the game, you just feel like this badass elite soldier who kicks ass and kills all the enemies in splendid fashion. This doesn't mean that Resident Evil 4 remake is bad at all. I actually think it's wonderful in what it does, and it does exactly what it needs to do, and it does it right. Let's move on to the graphics of this game. Now, I don't play games merely for their graphics, and graphics alone never make a game good. Graphics are, for me, kinda like a bonus. It completes the experience when it's nice to watch, basically. I played this on my PC with an RTX 4070 Ti, maxed out on a 4K monitor with my computer, and it's jaw-dropping to look at, like seriously, and runs like a butter on my machine. I have no complaints on the graphics departure of this game. Capcom nailed it. They have constantly proved over the years that the Resident Evil engine is one of the most optimized game engines on the market that manages to deliver amazing graphics. Back to the story for a moment. During the story, you have the classic merchant appearing throughout the game, from which you can buy weapons and upgrade your weapons, sell collected loots and earn money from them. Resident Evil 4 Remake adds a new twist into the stuff selling by giving you the option to stack gems, diamonds on treasures you find, which will make them more valuable and give you more money when you sell a treasure that is stacked with gems. The way they executed the merchant was really well done in my opinion. Some people have complained about the merchant's voice not being the same, but I didn't mind at all. I thought it was perfect. You also have the shooting range arranged by the merchant. That is just very fun to play and try your shooting skills. You always take an elevator to his shooting range. You know, it's not realistic at all, but it doesn't have to be. This game clearly doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's just perfect in my opinion. And the game is overall made with a tongue-in-cheek like experience. You can also unlock these cool charms, which gives your character certain buffs, like for example you have a higher chance in getting handgun ammunition or shotgun ammunition or rifle ammunition. There are all sorts of charms that you can unlock, and you can attach 3 of them max to your case. The OG Resident Evil 4 was notoriously known of its item management in the game as well. Here you can manage your items in the old way or use auto sort. I have to be completely honest, I was lazy and I used the auto sort most of the time. But this item management was such a big thing back in the day, and even still today, that there's even a game for the smartphone where the only point of the game is to manage your case with item, which is pretty funny to be honest. Speaking about using items and equipping them, it's also wonderfully updated here in the remake. In the OG Resident Evil 4, you always had to open the menu, equip your item and leave the menu. Here in the remake it has been updated, the using of items, as almost every game has nowadays, meaning you have quick slots from where you can easily choose your weapons during battles. This way it doesn't stop the flow of action, and it just feels natural to be able to switch items like that. While as the OG Resident Evil 4, you always had to equip everything through the menu, and once you have a really hectic battle going in the game, it can look pretty funny when you just constantly open the menu like every 5 seconds. But even in the OG Resident Evil 4, you became so pro in the game, in the item switching of the game, that later on in the game you did it lightning fast. So it wasn't really a game breaker even in the OG Resident Evil 4 days. Anyway, what else is there to say about this game? Oh yeah, I forgot to say about the difficulty of this game. This game has assisted, standard, hardcore and professional difficulties. I played both the base game and the DLC on hardcore because I always like a challenge. And I have to say that on hardcore this game can be very, very hard, and it requires quick reflexes and fast movements. I have yet to play this game on professional, but professional basically makes enemies like bullet sponges, and it removes the autosave feature, meaning every time you die you start from the last save point when you save the game. I was already struggling on hardcore difficulty in certain boss battles, especially Salazar. That was a pain in the ass, but once you get the hang of the controls and how the patterns of the bosses, it's quite easy in the end. But I was still struggling at that boss. But you know, I'm still determined to play this through professional, because the game is just so damn awesome and I don't mind to bust my balls while playing it through a second time. The game has about 150 challenges or achievements, whatever you like to call them. These challenges can be a pain in the butt to complete every single one. I haven't completed all the challenges, I have only completed about 80 from 150, I think. You can also get ranks from the campaign. Like for example, if you want to achieve the highest possible rank, which is S+, you can only save a certain amount of time during the entire campaign, and you have to be fast as well. There's basically a time limit that you have to take note of. So the rank system is basically like a time attack mode. You race against time and you can't explore or just wander around in the game. You have to be fast and efficient. But if that's your thing, then this game has that too, you know. I'm personally not a huge fan of the ranks. I mostly just enjoyed the game by myself in my own pace. Oh, and before I forget, there's a €10 DLC called Separate Ways, of course, which basically gives you a completely new story point of view from the character Ada, who is also in the base game. Now you play as Ada, like what happens during the whole time as through Ada's viewpoint. The base game has about 16 chapters, while as the Ada DLC has about 7 chapters. I played the Ada DLC and I have to say that it was a fun add for the game. Ada has cool melee moves and the grappling gun was a new fun gameplay add that the base game doesn't have. The grappling gun moves are stationed and you can't just freely go in the world using the grappling gun wherever you like. Still a fun add, and this DLC is only €10, so you get a hell of a lot new stuff for that small amount of money. I highly recommend buying the DLC as well after you've played the base game. I could go on for hours on how awesome this game is, but I just want to give the most important notes on why this game is so amazing, and I don't want to spoil the entire game in this review. Now, do I have anything bad to say about this game? In my honest opinion, I actually don't really have. Of course, you know, no game is ever perfect. But honestly, the only bad thing about this game for me was when the game's story ended. It left me begging for more awesome badass Leon action. This is just my personal opinion about the game, and I'm sure that some people find some things annoying and some better, but you know, I just didn't have really anything bad to say. For me, it was just a perfect experience. And why can't something sometimes be a perfect experience? You know, if I don't have anything bad to say about the game, do I have to force myself and find something bad about it? No, I think I'm just gonna leave it here and say this was a perfect game for me. The reason why I'm probably so excited of this game is because it's basically just a big love letter for the original Resident Evil 4 fans. I played the shit out of the OG Resident Evil 4 back in the day, and Capcom just nailed this remake in my opinion. It's just awesome. So, my final score of this game is easily at 10 out of 10. Definitely Game of the Year material all the way, with fantastic update to the already fantastic story of the OG Resident Evil 4. Great gameplay mechanics, awesome replay value, breathtaking graphics. What more could you ask for? I urge you to go and buy this game after this video. Like I said, you will be completely satisfied by spending full price on this game. Anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here and just continue playing this awesome game. And thanks for watching my review, and hope it gave you the spark to go and buy this game, because I really like this game. And yeah, so until then, I'll see you guys on my next review, and as always, stay true to gaming, and catch you later. Take care, people. Bye bye.